Hey guys, it's your boy M.K.S. Finally back here with part 2 of my video about reasons to, or the case for supporting Indigenous people from the Americas and helping them to unite together. So hope you checked out part 1. If not, please do check it out, and hopefully you'll enjoy this video. Hopefully some people out there will enjoy it, especially especially people from Indigenous backgrounds. Anyway, so so here goes. So I'll say, carrying on from my list of part 1, I thought I'd try and finish this. Obviously, September, I nearly said July then, September is nearly over, so in October I'm going to be focusing hopefully on Black empowerment, Black history and empowerment around the world, especially Africa, and because it's Black history in the UK, especially the UK and Africa, and perhaps how they can work together, but also around the world. And in February I'm hoping to talk about African American empowerment and history and empowerment, as well as African and that sort of thing. But anyway, I'll come to that at that time. So hoping to finish off my plans for empowering Indigenous people of the Americas this year, and hopefully next year I'll take what I've learned in July, August, or as much of August, or at least a quarter of August, and September. And in the future I'd love to go and tour reservations or Indigenous communities, areas, and that sort of thing, and listen to them, find out about the history, and learn a lot more. I don't think I've learned that much this year, but I have learned that they do have their own community sort of with YouTube, and they do have their own social media platforms, and some of them have run businesses or do run successful businesses, and so in some ways they are being empowered a little bit more than they used to be, but obviously it's from a low point. But they still have a lot of problems with smoking, drugs, alcohol, diabetes, bad health, and a lot of poorness or poverty, if you want to call it that. So I think there's still a lot to do. But in terms of what I've learned, I think, to be honest, there's not a huge amount I've learned, but I think I have learned a little bit about their urban legends and things like that. So anyway, I'm going to crack on with this list, because I don't want the video to be too long, and I don't want to waffle. So I do hope you do enjoy it. So here goes. So number 11, I think that it would be good to see a positive change. I think white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, if you like, and I, this is a bit harsh, not harsh, but this is a bit difficult. Well, maybe it is kind of harsh on those who are decent white Anglo-Saxon Protestant Americans, or that haven't really benefited from their position, perhaps, if there are any. But I think that white Anglo-Saxon Protestants have dominated America for so long that it would be good to see people of colour, including Indigenous people from the Americas, which I suppose you could say are brown, doing well in the future, and see positive changes. I think, as I said before, it would be a good challenge to work towards, and dare I say, in my opinion, it's the right thing to do. But again, that's my personal opinion. I don't always like to say right or wrong, because that's subjective. It's sort of opinionative. It's sort of based on opinion, so it's not really just because I say it. It would be a bit arrogant of me to say it is the right thing to do just because I think, or other people think it's the right thing to do. But in my opinion, it would be a positive thing to do, at least on the ethical. And again, going back to it being my opinion, but to see a positive change and see what they can achieve and accomplish. At number 12, I think it would be good to make the world a better place. And again, if other people of colour help them, they can always help return the favour when they do well. If and when they do well, they can always hopefully help people in Africa and Asia and those other groups I talked about. As I've said before, I love what I call the 4, or even the 6, to work together, including Ireland and Latin America as well. And they can support each other and empower each other. But I think it'd be good to mentor them and teach them and train them. Again, it's something to do, and it can create interesting ideas which push and challenge yourself. Like, I'd love to help them to, like Indigenous women from the Americas, who apparently often suffer from assaults or violence. I'd love it if they could learn martial arts so they could protect themselves, and also, and also just generally being motivated. Might be a bit corny, but using the term he for she, like to support Indigenous women of the Americas. I hope that made sense. But so I think it would be good to inspire and encourage. Also, there's a lot of poverty on the reservations, which is another reason, in my opinion, to support, because I think it would be good to support the poorest amongst us, like in the world, around the world, and that sort of thing. Number 13, I think it'd be great to see them benefit from their own. Whenever there's a movie or any music, whenever there's a movie or any documentary or any art that's sold or anything that which is culturally sensitive to Indigenous people from the Americas, I think it'd be good to have their voices heard. So when people make movies that represent Indigenous people from the Americas, I think it'd be good to see them have some involvement in those movies so that they can make sure the portrayal of them is accurate and is a fair portrayal and doesn't portray them in a light which they don't want to be portrayed in. And so I think it'd be great also, as I say, for them to benefit from their own scary stories and creepypastas. I'd love in the future for Indigenous people from the Americas, which already have their own YouTube channels and memes and that. I think it'd be great. Sorry, not memes. Their own YouTube channels and social media. I think it'd be great to see Indigenous people from the America on social media like YouTube, especially making videos about talking about scary stories from Native American creepypastas and urban legends and cryptids and things like that, so they can benefit from it just like other people have benefited from their culture, I suppose. And also, like, if there are movies that are made like horror movies, they can benefit as well as other movies. Again, hope that makes sense. But yeah, I think it'd be good for them to benefit from the land where they originate from and that sort of thing as well. But yeah, so another thing I nearly forgot to say was I'd love for Indigenous people from the Americas to do reaction videos on scary YouTube videos and things like that, and see how they react to them and that sort of thing. But yeah, talking about skinwalkers and wendigos and things like that, there's some of the things I've learned about Indigenous people in America, some of the urban legends they have. Number 14, again, I think it would be good, like, to help them solve the problems that they face. They have a lot of problems that, if you want to help people who have got problems, I think it would be another reason to support them. And I think that they could also, again, return the favour in the future, but maybe helping them, they could then solve problems not just for themselves, but, like, for instance, helping Indigenous scientists from the Americas or Indigenous people from the Americas to become scientists, I think could mean that they could then cure diseases for the rest of the world as well. I hope that makes sense. And again, they could teach the world a lot of things about looking after nature and animals and things like that, I believe. Number 15, again, it's something to focus on. For me personally, I don't believe people of colour or even non-WASPs, non-white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, should join the military, in my opinion. I think people talk about serving, but I think if you want to serve, I think it would be better to join the police or in America, like lawyers, become lawyers or judges, or that sort of thing. So working within the law as well as business people and mentoring other people, and like people of color, especially. I think it would be Indigenous people from Australasia. I think should definitely work with Indigenous people from the Americas as well as people from Africa and Asia and people of colour generally around the world, but especially Indigenous Australasians like Aborigines and Maoris and people like that, which I think they already do work together a little bit, but I think it would be good if they continue to work together. And again, like, controversial opinion, but I don't believe that people of colour and, as I say, non-white Anglo-Saxon Protestants should join the military. I think instead they should support, or we should support, Indigenous people from the Americas and make sure they get equal rights to their land and equal access to justice and things like that. So to me, it's something positive to focus on and work towards. Number 16, again, through taking on that challenge, maybe it can help you to really have a purpose in life and to have something to work towards that can help you with that. So sometimes I think if people are depressed, by helping others, you feel better by uplifting others. So I think that's another reason to sort of work towards supporting Indigenous people from the Americas. Number 17, again, we can learn a lot from supporting them. Like, as we support them, we can, if we listen to Indigenous people from the Americas, we might be able to hear how they dealt with things like natural disasters, or how they survived for so many years in inhospitable territories and things like that. And again, it would be great to hear their stories and words of wisdom and things they could teach the rest of us. 18, I think would be a positive thing to do, and again, the right thing to do. I know I've mentioned that a bit before, but I think if you're thinking that I want to do something really positive and constructive, I think instead of doing things like join the military or or instead of getting bored or feeling negative or depressed about life, or instead of doing things like committing crimes or things like that, people could support Indigenous people, and that can, from the Americas, and that can really help them to feel better about themselves as well, and make them feel like they're making real positive impact, which hopefully they will be doing. 19, I think it'd be great to see Indigenous people from the Americas be more represented in things like STEM and business and other areas, because again, they have been underrepresented for so long. So I think it would be great to see them do well and take on those challenges and that sort of thing. Sorry, this video is a bit long. And number 20, again, I think it would be great to see their youth be empowered. So in the future, hopefully a lot of positive things can be done for the reservations so that they can tackle those, they can tackle poverty and be in a better place in the future. Anyway, I'm going to stop baffling, and as ever, I'd love to hear what you think, and peace and love. I'm out.